Have you ever wondered why 30 minutes after finishing your workout, you feel like you could eat an entire fridge, even though you just burned hundreds of calories? If that sounds like you, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening inside your body and brain, and more importantly, how to control it instead of letting it control you. So here's the thing. When you exercise, your body goes through a fascinating hormonal roller coaster, and most people have no idea this is even happening. During the actual workout, a hormone called ghrelin, which is your primary hunger hormone, actually gets suppressed, especially during intense cardio or heavy lifting, because your body redirects blood flow away from your digestive system and towards your muscles. So your stomach essentially goes quiet for a while. That's why some people feel zero appetite mid-workout, sometimes even slightly nauseous if they train too hard. But here's the twist. Once you stop training, your body realizes it just burned through a significant chunk of glycogen and energy reserves, and now it wants to replenish what it lost. So ghrelin comes roaring back, often stronger than before. And this rebound effect is one of the biggest reasons you suddenly feel starving after you're done. On top of that, there's a hormone called leptin, which normally tells your brain, hey, we're full, stop eating. But intense or prolonged exercise can temporarily blunt leptin sensitivity, meaning your brain isn't getting the I'm satisfied signal as clearly as it should, so you end up feeling hungrier than the actual calorie deficit would justify. Then there's cortisol, your stress hormone, which spikes during tough training sessions, especially long endurance workouts or high-intensity interval training, and elevated cortisol is directly linked to increased cravings, particularly for sugar and fast carbohydrates, because your body is basically screaming for quick, accessible energy to recover. Now let's talk about something most fitness channels completely ignore, the psychological side of this whole equation, because hunger isn't purely a hormonal event, it's also a mental and emotional one. When you finish a hard workout, your brain associates that effort with deserving a reward. This is called the moral licensing effect in psychology, where because you did something healthy and disciplined, your subconscious mind gives you permission to indulge, so you tell yourself, I earned this. And suddenly that innocent bowl of rice turns into 3 bowls, or that protein shake turns into a shake plus a burger plus fries. This is incredibly common, and it's not a willpower failure, it's literally how human psychology is wired. So don't beat yourself up over it, just become aware of it, because awareness is the first step to controlling it. Another major factor is exercise-induced dehydration, and this one surprises a lot of people. When you sweat, you lose water and electrolytes, and your brain sometimes misinterprets thirst signals as hunger signals because the regions controlling both are located close together in the hypothalamus. So what you think is intense hunger might actually just be your body screaming for water and sodium, which is why drinking a large glass of water immediately after training can sometimes reduce that false hunger spike significantly. There's also the factor of exercise intensity and duration playing a huge role here. Low to moderate intensity workouts, like a casual walk or light yoga, tend to have minimal impact on appetite, but high-intensity resistance training or long endurance sessions like a 10K run create a much bigger energy deficit in a short window of time. And your body, being the incredibly efficient survival machine that it is, wants to correct that deficit as quickly as possible, so the hunger signal becomes louder and more urgent the harder and longer you train. Now here's something really important for anyone trying to lose fat while working out. This post-workout hunger surge can absolutely sabotage your progress if you're not paying attention, because it's extremely easy to out-eat your workout, meaning you burn 300 calories in the gym and then unknowingly consume 600 calories in your post-workout meal because your hunger signals are so amplified. And this is exactly why so many people say, I work out consistently, but I'm not losing weight. The missing piece isn't the workout, it's the eating pattern right after it. So what can you actually do about this? First, prioritize protein and fiber in your post-workout meal, because both of these are incredibly satiating and they slow down digestion, which helps stabilize those hunger hormones instead of letting them spike uncontrollably. Think grilled chicken with vegetables, or a protein shake with a banana and some nut butter, something that combines protein with complex carbs rather than pure sugar. Second, hydrate immediately after training, ideally with water that has a pinch of salt or an electrolyte mix if you sweated heavily. Because as we discussed, thirst often disguises itself as hunger, and this simple step alone eliminates a huge chunk of false hunger signals. Third, try to avoid training in a way that leaves you so depleted that you're desperate, meaning if you're doing extremely long fasted cardio sessions or brutal 2-hour gym sessions without any fueling strategy, you're setting yourself up for an uncontrollable hunger crash later. So structure your training intensity according to your actual goals, rather than just going as hard as possible every single time. Fourth, and this is a psychological trick that works incredibly well, plan your post-workout meal before you even start training. Decide exactly what you're going to eat in advance, because when you're extremely hungry and making food decisions in the moment, your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of your brain, is essentially hijacked by the urgency of hunger, and you end up making impulsive choices you wouldn't normally make. But if the decision is already made ahead of time, you remove that vulnerable decision-making window entirely. Fifth, get enough sleep, because poor sleep dramatically increases ghrelin and decreases leptin independent of exercise. So if you're training hard but sleeping 5 hours a night, you're essentially stacking two different hunger-amplifying factors on top of each other. And that combination is brutal for anyone trying to manage their appetite or body composition. Understanding all of this isn't about fearing hunger or treating it like the enemy. Hunger is a completely normal biological signal, and your body is simply doing its job, trying to keep you alive and recovered. The goal here isn't to suppress hunger through willpower alone, because that approach almost always fails long-term. The real goal is to understand why it's happening so you can work with your biology instead of against it, by fueling smart, hydrating properly, sleeping well, and making decisions in advance rather than in the heat of the moment when your hunger hormones are screaming the loudest. So next time you finish a workout and suddenly feel like you could eat everything in sight, remember it's not a lack of discipline, it's ghrelin rebounding, leptin sensitivity dipping, cortisol spiking, dehydration disguising itself as hunger, and your brain rewarding your effort, all happening at once. And now that you know exactly what's going on, you have the power to respond intelligently instead of reactively. If this video helped you understand your own body a little better, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more science-based fitness and psychology content that actually helps you make sense of what's happening inside you. And I'll see you in the next one.